Welcome to Real Estate Success Partner. We're your hosts, Devin and
David Wynn.
And we're here to talk about how to have success in any market. And today, what a success story we have, Dave, again, with amazing guests. Who'd you bring along today?
Well, I brought Hannah Hanson from Anna, Texas, from Phantom Realty. Welcome to the podcast, Hannah.
I think it's Fathom, right?
Phantom,
right? Yeah. So
F-A-T-H-O.
Hannah from Anna, not Indiana, right?
Correct, yes.
And that's Anna, Texas, folks, if you didn't know that. So, Hannah, welcome to the show. We're super excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, veteran in the industry, you've been doing it for 20 decades, right?
That's about how old I am.
I don't think you're 20 decades, maybe 20, right? Not 20 decades. But at the end of the day, you've been in the industry for just a couple of years, right?
Correct. A little under 3 years.
Yeah, but you're having crazy success.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's awesome. That's why we want to have you here today. It's an inspiration to a lot of people to hear success stories. And, when we heard yours, we definitely wanted to share it with the world. So we appreciate you joining us today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So are you Texas native? Are you from here originally?
I am. I am born and raised in Texas. I grew up in Garland, Texas,
Okay.
just outside of Dallas.
I think I know where that is. Dave, you might know where
Oh,
Garland
yeah.
is.
Well, I grew up, too. I grew up in Mesquite. We was talking about that in the green room.
So, yeah, I've been here my whole life. Grew up there, and then my husband and I got married and moved to Anna, Texas about 4 years ago.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So definitely local to the DFW area. You said, hey, I'm going to move a little further north, right? Get a little closer to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
No, it's beautiful out there in Anna. So, I can see why you chose that area. So you grew up your whole life saying, I want to be a real estate agent.
Not exactly. So I actually was in the retail world fresh out of high school.
Okay.
I worked for a coffee company for a while, moved my way up there. I was a
Who doesn't love coffee?
manager. Yes, I was addicted. It was bad for a while. Free coffee.
I've got a coffee addiction. So
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
I actually started off in the retail world, and
That's awesome.
I loved it at the time being. I loved my employees and my customers. Schedule-wise, working at a coffee shop is very interesting. I was getting up at 2 a.m. and my husband is a fireman, so our
wow.
schedules
Yeah.
were polar opposite.
Yeah.
So when we decided we were leaning towards starting a family, that's when I decided career-wise I needed to find something that was a little bit more flexible. So that's kind of what led me into real estate.
I love that. My oldest daughter works for Starbucks. So, she's privy to the world of early rising, right?
Yes.
But I heard you say something there. So you said your husband's a firefighter and you're in real estate. And last time I looked, real estate agents, a lot of the times, you guys are also heroes for homeowners, right? Because you're out there helping people find their biggest light, which is their home. But then your husband's also a firefighter, and he's a hero as well. You just got a family full of heroes, right?
I don't know if I would consider myself a hero, but him definitely, for sure. He has a very selfless job.
Well, you're being modest because, again, obviously there's income that comes attached with real estate, but we've seen your production, and, for the amount of time that you've been in the industry, you're helping a lot of families lead to homes. And, last time I looked, sure, you've got seasoned, people that have purchased multiple homes, but a lot of times there's new people, and that takes somebody who's willing to get out there and help guide people through. There's a lot that goes into that, right?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah, so don't cut yourself short. You are a hero too, right?
Well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, got out of coffee and jumped into real estate, and did you start with Fathom?
I did. I've been with Fathom the whole time. So I actually worked as an assistant to a real estate agent first. I wanted to kind of have an outside perspective and see if this is something I really could see myself doing long term. So worked as an assistant, did all the odds and ends that I was allowed to do without being licensed,
Right.
Which usually meant I was a gopher and ran all over the metro.
That's right.
But from the outside looking in, I thought this is something I could see myself enjoy doing. So while I was an assistant, I was getting licensed online.
That's great.
And then I just jumped right in.
Yeah, I love that. Taking action. And, I love that you started with a mentor too, right? Somebody that you can kind of look up to for guidance. What we found is, when you find the right mentor, a lot of the times that really helps, transition you to, what you can truly become, because you've got somebody that you can look to and say, man, they're doing a great job, and they're teaching you, right? They're apprenticing you how to become awesome, right? So you also mentioned you were running all over the metro. You still run all over the metro because I've seen the Doppler map of where your homes have been sold, and you're not just selling homes up in Anna.
Yeah.
You're a little bit everywhere, right?
Yep, my husband does give me grief about the mileage I put on my vehicle, but especially when I first got started, and just because I'm native here, I feel like I know people from all over, and I know
right.
North Texas as a whole really
You do.
well.
Yeah.
So I've scaled back a little bit now that I've had a kiddo, but prior to that, if you needed me in North Texas, I was there.
You were bouncing around. I love it. You said new kiddo. How old?
She's 9 months.
Oh boy, and you could still juggle doing what you're doing with business?
Yes, it's been interesting, and every day is a new day for sure, but I have made it work for sure.
That's great. Yeah. Well, she's going to grow up, realtor. She's
I always joked her first word was going to be equity. It was mama, but we were close.
I love it. Well, we're going to have a follow-up to this one and see, maybe 3-4 years from now and see, right? If she's coming to these open houses and showing homes with you, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I love it. That's super exciting. Okay, so 9-month-old at home, still crazy productive with your business. Maybe not running quite as far around North Dallas, right? But let's talk about that because, again, newer to the industry, but having really great results, especially in marketplace where some people say it's difficult. How'd you get started with that, right? Your mentor obviously gave you some insight, but how'd you find that business?
So, twofold answer. Partially, I think it's just because I grew up here and I have been so plugged in church, in volunteer organizations, and family and friends that I just know a lot of people and truly enjoy being around people and staying connected. I also have a second business. I started a photography business in high school. I was the kid in math class starting an LLC of all things. And so I think because of that, I get the opportunity to meet a lot of people that I wouldn't normally.
Yeah.
And I stay in contact with those people, treat them like friends and family. So over the years, I don't want to call it a database, but the people I know has just grown tremendously.
Yeah, true entrepreneur. And it's funny you talk about, making friends with your clients as a photographer. My videographer here across the table from us, he took our family photos a little over a year and a half ago, and what do you know?
You never let him go.
That's it, yeah. No, we hang out all the time. So, I love that because you're right. It's very relational when you're getting out and taking photos of folks and their families and you getting to know them and know who they are as people. And I can tell you've got a great attitude. You're really, really fun to talk to. So I can see how that transitioned into helping you with building a database. That's really great. That's really great. So you just relied on just the people from your photography business as the new homers, or I think, David, you were talking in the green room. You might have had another secret weapon that you were out doing, right?
I am willing to try anything. So in my first year, I did do some cold calls for sale by owner. That had some successes. Yes. But I mean, really any form of marketing and networking, I have tried at least once.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let's talk about the for sale by owner, right? Because again, what we're talking about here is a homeowner that says, hey, look, I'm not going to use an agent. I'm going to just represent myself. And how do you find those folks? And how does that process work, right? I'm an agent and I'm looking for opportunities. Maybe I'm not having the most successful career. How do you get in front of that, right? What does that process look like?
Sure. So there are databases online that you can pay for to have access to that information. I personally just use Zillow. Just acted as if I was a homeowner looking for a home. That's probably where I would look. So I called some of those homeowners, and I don't like to be the person that pesters them because I know they probably have a million agents pestering them.
Sure.
But in particular, one of the he's a developer actually that I've built a relationship through this process.
That's awesome.
He was buying land and building on it and trying to sell the homes and just wasn't having any luck. And I said, hey, let me come see the house, let me list it, and if we have luck, maybe it'll just prove to you in the future that
Yeah.
This is
There's some
worth it.
value here,
Yes, this
right?
is
There's some
worth it.
value. Yeah.
So I was very patient. He wanted to keep the listing on for a whole month and
Okay.
see if he could do it. And I said,
Testing the
"Great.
waters."
Yep, I'm not going to bug you. I'm going to reach back out at the end of that month and
Yeah.
see how it went. And he
I love it.
really put his all into it. He did open houses. He did flyers.
Yeah.
He was doing his best. And at the end of the month, he didn't have any bites. So I listed it, and within the first week, we had multiple offers. He accepted an offer. We got to closing, and
great.
after that, he never looked back. And he texts me and calls me
love it.
all the time for his next deals.
Well, you just dropped a piece of knowledge there because, and you flew through it so fast, most people probably didn't catch it, but you said, I told him it was okay to just list it himself, and he went through a lot of work to do that, and he still didn't get the results that he was looking for, which was a sold property. But the biggest part of what you said there was, well, I called him back a month later. That's where most people stop, right? Most people make the initial phone call, but they never call back, right? And here you are with the wisdom that says, hey, I'm persistent, I'm consistent, and I'm going to give them this opportunity. I am going to call back, right? And that's a game changer, right? So when you're out there, as a new agent or a new salesperson, right, in general, call your people back, right? Make sure you do that follow-up because at the end of the day, you can get big results for that. Now this is somebody that you work with often? Is that
Oh, yeah.
what I'm hearing?
Oh, yeah. We've probably done, between land deals and helping him rent and sell, I would say like 6 deals in the last 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
a lot.
That's great.
Let's talk about that a second. Everybody thinks that they can do what realtors do. I mean, you just said he's a developer builder. That's his expertise. I'm a mortgage guy. There's no bones that I think I can go out and sell real estate. Just because we're in real estate doesn't mean I can sell it. How much are you leaving on the table by trying to do a for sale by owner or trying to do stuff without representation of? It's amazing. I'm amazed that so many people actually try to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will be the first to say, and other agents may not like that I say this, but if you have success doing that as a seller,
Right.
go for it.
Yeah.
That does not offend me in any means, and that's really why I encouraged him. I said, if you want to try for a month, absolutely. And if
Right.
it saves you money and you get the seller and you get to closing and you're happy, I am happy for you. And I genuinely mean that. And
That's
I know
right.
other agents probably won't love that I say that, but I do want the best for people. And if that
It's important.
means that you listing your own home and you get what you want out of it,
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you. But in his case, I think it led to more stress. He was ready to move on to his next
That's
deal,
it.
and I was able to help him do that.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit because, again, you talk about less stress to him, right? And, at the end of the day, when you're out there trying to sell a product, what do you want to do? Do you want to be the one person that's out there marketing your product, right? The only person that's out there paying for the ads and trying to do the open houses or communicate with the people? Or do you want an army of people that are out there marketing your product for you, right? Last time I looked, the more people that are marketing a product on your behalf, the more opportunity that you have to sell, right? And, more importantly, when you have the expert opinion of somebody that is doing this as a profession, they can give you a great insight as to where to market that effectively. They can get you out in multiple resources, connected TV, on the internet, all over social, and then you've got hundreds, if not thousands here in the DFW of agents that now are also supporting trying to help get that property sold, right? So you had the foresight to say, hey, try it on your own. And then, walk back in and said, hey, how's that working out? And it wasn't, right? And he was ready, right? I don't want to try this anymore. And let's talk about that because our time is money, right? So he's an investor. Is he losing money by trying to do all this marketing effort on his own? Or is he gaining money, right, by hiring somebody to do it for him to give him more time to work on other projects?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
And he, as a developer, is insanely busy
Yeah.
and has multiple projects going
Absolutely.
on at the same time. So he had a home that was completed, and he was, paying for the utilities and paying for the taxes on it, and it was ready for its next owner. So I think in that scenario, I absolutely showed value
That's
in
it.
just send me the information and I'm going to get the photos scheduled and the listing done and do the open houses, and then we were sold within 2 weeks.
That's it. Your agent is your marketing. That's what it is, right? Your agent is your marketing. When you're paying for your agents to represent you, you're paying for your marketing. Any business has to pay for marketing to be successful, right? It doesn't mean you have to buy leads, right? But you have to pay for some sort of marketing so people know who you are. And, when you're a homeowner, you got to pay for marketing. What is that marketing for you? That's an army of agents that are out there there trying to sell your property for you. And, that's where the value you brought was. And you let him find that on his own. And now he knows, it's better served for me to put that in the hands of Hannah because she's going to get my property sold, right? And I can stay focused on the things that I need to be doing to grow my business. Yeah, I love that.
I want to talk about your journey a little bit. So you kind of been in the real estate business a little bit less than 3 years. Well, we all know the last 18 months in real estate has been probably one of the worst 18 months in the last decade, 2 years, since 2008, right? So you entered a time whenever...
Yeah, 3 years. Yeah, last time I looked, that was when rates were starting to climb.
Yep.
And as a result, you had a lot less activity in the marketplace.
Yeah. So
and you just jumped in. You're like, hey, I'm going to do it.
I'm going to start a new job in real estate. Tell me about that. Tell me, was there any frustration, or did you just not know what you didn't know?
I would say I didn't know what I didn't know, but I also went in not with no expectations, but low expectations.
Sure.
I wanted to give it a really good shot, but I didn't put all my eggs in one basket. My husband supported me and said, hey, let's give it a couple years and see how this goes. I'm blessed that he at least has a job that is always needed. So I wasn't too worried on
That's
that
right.
front.
We need our heroes.
I gave it my all and woke up every day and tried to connect with people and really just continue my life and not stress too much about the number of deals, but just, who I was helping, what they needed that day, and it blossomed.
You
That's
know
awesome.
what we call that, Hannah? We call that focusing on the activity, not the results, right? Too many people want to focus on the results instantly, and it just doesn't always work like that, right? You're cultivating, and your activity is going to define the results, especially in a market like real estate, right? So it's the same situation when you're talking to a farmer, and you say, hey, I'm going to go plant these crops, and you come out the next day and there's nothing sprouted. Is the farmer frustrated? No, because the farmer knows it's going to take time for him to nurture those crops to get them to grow into a flourishing, opportunity, right? And that's the same thing with real estate. And I love the fact that you said, hey, look, I had low expectations, right? But I did the activity. And as a result, I wasn't frustrated when I wasn't seeing results immediately because I knew that the activity would dictate the results. And that's such a pro tip. Coming from somebody who is, really new to that industry, is come at it from the perspective of, hey, I'm going to have success, but I know it's not going to happen overnight, right? And so what do you say, once you just said, I'm taking the plunge and I'm going to transition to this, how long did it take for you to really start to see the results from your efforts?
So I want to give a lot of credit to my team lead because I was on a team. I did have leads and encouragement and guidance from there.
That's
so
great.
By no means was this all my own. But I would say from my own personal sphere and deals that I was closing without the lead of a team, it really took over a year. Not that I didn't close any my first year from my own sphere, but I try and encourage other agents that whenever you are taking on this role, it is such a responsibility.
It is.
And so for someone to trust you with that is huge. And so don't be offended if your family or your friends don't just immediately hand over that trust, because I understand the hesitancy, and I feel like some of that is earned over time. And when they see that you're putting in the effort and you're really trying to gain knowledge, then over time they're willing to say, okay, Hannah, now I'm ready for you to help me. But I tried not to be offended at first whenever they weren't just immediately ready for me to be their agent, because that's okay, because I was new and I took the time to learn. So I would say really after that first year is when I started getting contacted by friends or referrals of friends and family, people's coworkers that they had just seen that I was putting in the effort, and they were like, okay, I guess Hannah knows what she's doing.
Well, what we found, Hannah, is trust is built in small cap promises, right? And so you're newer to the industry, and they're going, hey, I don't know if I can trust in Hannah because I haven't seen her results yet, right? But then when you just kept at it and kept doing the right activity, and they started seeing you selling houses, and they see you out there doing the work, and now they see those small cap promises, right? They're coming to fruition, and now they go, man, you know what? I do trust Hannah. I already knew Hannah. I trusted Hannah. Now I trust her even more because I see the results of what she's doing. And you said that it wasn't all me because I was given leads. Well, it was all you because you called the leads. Do you know how many loan officers that I've hired, that I've given thousands of leads that don't even call the leads, right? And that's frustrating, right? But at the end of the day, it's the reality. Not everybody can do this. Not everybody has the patience to be able to get up in the morning and make the phone calls and do it consistently. So again, take your humble hat off, girl. You did that. It doesn't matter if they gave you the leads. You worked those leads, and you worked them effectively.
Let's talk about that. Are you still on a team now?
I am.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, because I take it, I think that's a pro tip. Hey, you're new to the industry. Why not jump on a team? You talk to a lot of realtors out there, and they say, I don't want to be on a team because I don't want to cut my commission. I don't want to take this. But it sounds like it helps you grow. I mean, being on a team helps you to grow
right.
and develop and get where you're at today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think part of that is why I chose to be an assistant first.
Yeah.
Just because I really wanted to see everything from the outside perspective.
That.
And
I love
then
that.
I got my license. I was on the lady I was an assistant to. I'm still on her team. And I love being on her team. And I feel like that's why I've had some of the success is I just was willing to take the slower route and learn first before.
By the way, that's another pro tip too, because what you talked about is I learned from the inside out, right? So, I just want to talk to you, a little bit about the way that I built my business. When I first started our mortgage company, I did every role in the office, right? I I processed the file. I did what our setup team would do, right? I did, what the sales asked me to do. I did the marketing role, right? And at the end of the day, what does that do, right? That teaches you how to truly run a business successfully. And so, you may not have known this, but by sitting back and looking at things from the inside out, you were truly learning how to run a real estate business so that when you were ready to jump in and do this, you had a lot more perspective as to how things should actually work. So again, kudos to you. Secret of the success, right, is looking at the business from all levels and having a true understanding so you can truly represent your clients with integrity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that team structure. So is the team set up to where there's a buyer's agent, a seller's agent, or how does y'all's team structure work?
There's not set roles per se. I would definitely consider myself more of the buyer's agent. And I think part of that is I was just willing to take anybody, and that's probably why I ended up all over the metro. But I was
Doppler map.
willing to work with
Where's Hannah?
buyers and sellers, those looking for rentals, those that didn't know what they were looking for,
Right.
and kind of take the slower approach in helping guide them.
That's right.
Does it make sense for them to buy right now? Connecting them with a loan officer. So yeah, to answer your question, there's not set roles, but I definitely think I lean towards buyers, and part of that is probably just my age. I think a lot of people my age don't even know where to start, and I have a passion for educating them, because whenever I bought my first home, it was a fine transaction, but I didn't really know what I was doing. I just kind of felt like it was a sign here, and I said, okay, I'm going to pray that this is okay.
Sounds right.
So I do have passion for slowing down and educating them and making sure
That's
they are as comfortable as they can be. It's still a huge decision, and so there will always be nerves, even if you have had all of the facts and
Right.
information laid out. But I really try and educate people so they're comfortable moving forward.
Well, that's important, because it is an education process, right? And at the end of the day, the more transactions you do, the better you are at educating those people. And, as a result, the client's going to have a much better experience. I also had a similar experience when I purchased my first home. I just showed up and signed papers and hoped for the best, right? And, at the end of the day, man, how naive was I, right? Because there were so many things that I really should have been considering. Look at if I had good representation who looked out for a lot of these things for me, but they didn't explain it well, right? And that's what you're talking about is, when a consumer comes to Hannah, you're going to make sure that you're walked through the process and have a clear understanding of what's happening and also what their expectations should be. And that, again, it's a testament to what you're doing, right? To the process you have and why you're having great success because, again, you're building that trust with those small cap promises by educating your consumers so that they can feel confident, right? That they're making a great decision when they're buying their house. Yeah, I love it. I love it. So wise, Dave. I don't know where you keep finding these just amazing people, but, here you are again, just amazing. Hannah, no, you're awesome. I love it.
Thank you.
Since we're going into that, being 3 years in the business, I always like to ask this question. What's the one transaction that you're most proud of or the reason why you got into this business and say, you know what, this is why
It's got to be one, right?
We know there's several. We can always say, I love it because I love helping people. That's why I'm in real estate, right?
Sure.
But there's one transaction that you go, man,
I love this.
This is why I do what I do.
I think the one that sticks out to me the most, I was helping a single mom of 2 kids, which I grew up with a single mom, and we had a pretty strict budget and next to no down payment, and that's just where she was at her point in life. And she had fully uprooted and relocated to Texas, and she found me on Google. She just called me one afternoon, and I felt like such a responsibility was handed to me, and I was
right.
determined to help this lady find a house, even when this is back when the market was crazy and
Yeah.
we were dealing with multiple offers. And I just did not know how the heck I was going to find her a livable, safe home.
That's right.
But with not much of a down payment and no room to go over asking.
Because everybody wanted cash, right? It was either I want cash or I want a giant down payment and I want proof that you're qualified and I want your firstborn, right? You
Yep.
know, and there's 100 offers in front of you, so yours better look really good and you better have it to me immediately because we're going to accept an offer right now, right?
Yep.
And so you're up against that kind of pressure and you've got somebody that's relocating, single mother, needs a house, needs a home, doesn't have cash. How'd you make that happen?
So we looked for several months to start off. Some of it was realigning expectations. I wanted her to have the best home possible, but I also had to, let her know that this might be on the top of the list and we might be able to make that one happen, but maybe not all 10. But I'm going to do my best to find as many of those priorities as I can.
Yeah.
So after months and months of searching, we found not only a home that worked, but a seller that was willing to work with us.
That's awesome.
And that was the biggest thing. And this is one of the only transactions this has ever happened, but whenever we closed, she actually got a check written to her because of the amount of concessions we got. So
That's
she
great.
literally walked into that home for, next to no money, with money back in her name.
How'd she feel when she walked through that door?
Awesome. Yeah, and her kids were ecstatic, and that was one of the most fun parts is they would accompany us on all of our showings, and so I definitely felt like I was herding cats a lot of the times. They're the sweetest kids, but they're little.
Yeah.
And so they were so excited for that house and claiming their bedroom, and so yeah, that's probably one of my most proud moments, just to make it, we made it to the end, and I felt like it was a good, happy ending overall.
Well, you did that too, right?
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I can guess already the price point on that had to be low, but it means
did.
so much. It's always that case.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. We have not yet. I can't say it will never happen. We have not yet had somebody. And again, we typically interview very top tier agents, right? People who are doing a lot of business, having a lot of success, who's come in and said, my favorite transaction was when I sold a $3 million house and made a lot of money. It's almost every single time. It's transitioning to the person that was the underdog, right? The one that probably shouldn't have been able to get into the house, and the mission that you took upon yourself to make that happen. And that's what makes a great agent. Somebody that's doing it for the right reasons, selfless. Sure, there'll be commissions that come on other files, and of course you make money on that loan, but at the end of the day, you help this person. There's a lot of agents out there who are transactional who said, I'm not wasting my time.
Right.
I'm not going to waste my time with that person. That's not what you did, Hannah. You took the time for, like you said, 7 months to help lead her to a home, and man, wow, you're her hero. And that's what I'm talking about when I say a real estate hero, right? You're a hero to these people, because these little kids, they're going to look up and they go, Mom, you trusted in Hannah, and Hannah, she got us this home. So that's just amazing stuff. That's amazing stuff. So go back to, we always like to talk about family. And so we know you've got a 9-month-old, and we know that you got your other hero, right? Your other half. You guys are wearing capes on the weekend. What's that look like? What's that home life look like for you guys?
It's a balancing act. So his schedule is interesting, to say the least. He works 48 hours at a time. So during that time, I am
What is it? 48 on, 72 off? Is that all?
96.
Is
Yeah,
that,
so
is that
2
all?
days on.
Is it different from company to company, firefighters?
Yes. Yeah, each department does it a different way. A lot of times it's just depending on their call volume and if they can actually sleep, if they have a 48-hour shift, or if they're too busy.
Right.
His was kind of a middle, so they switched to that in January of last year. But during that 48 hours, I wear all the hats, and
Yeah.
I am mom and photographer and real estate agent and cook and cleaner. A lot of the cleaner.
So no sleep. You just don't sleep ever.
No, I do. But yeah, it's a lot of just prioritizing what needs to happen first in that moment.
Yeah.
And when he is home, we tag team a lot.
That's
and
awesome.
I do a lot of nap time work. That is my secret, is nap time work. And that's
Time
when
to take a nap, honey.
I make my calls and do my emails, and she has gone on many a showings with me and
love
many
it.
closings. So I'm very thankful for gracious clients, especially in the immediate postpartum phase. A lot of them actually requested she come. I felt like I was chopped liver at that point if I showed up alone.
Yeah.
But no, just very thankful for gracious clients that
That's awesome.
have allowed me
And a
to
lot of
still help
gracious
them.
clients. You were still closing a lot of loans, wearing all those hats, right?
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, you know what though? The fact that you could take her is a big thing, because I'm pretty sure in retail you can't just take a baby
No.
and put her in the corner and go, I'm gonna work my
At the
8-hour
coffee
shift.
shop, hey, we're just going to throw
In
the
the
baby in the
corner.
back.
So there is something to be said about this business, you know?
Yeah.
Yep, and that's part of why I wanted to make that switch when we decided to have a family. Is
Yeah.
I just wanted something that was flexible enough that I could make it work. Not to say that it isn't hard and difficult, but we've made it work. Every day is a new day.
Well, I say it all the time, you got in real estate because you're like working like 20 hours a week, right? Or-
No.
I laugh at that because everybody thinks in real estate, we just show up, get our check, and
Yeah,
leave,
no.
and we work 10, 20 hours
Not at all.
a week. I tell people all the time, real estate doesn't sleep.
No.
It doesn't. I've taken calls at 8 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Saturdays, Sundays. Now, the great part about real estate is, I will say this, part of the reason why I got in real estate was I have 2 sons, and I wanted to be there for them. If I want to pick them up for school, I pick them up for school. If I want to go to a sporting event, I go to a sporting event. I make my time. But then everybody in real estate that I know,
Makeup time.
It's makeup time.
Yeah.
Whenever everybody else is coming home and watching TV,
That's
we
right.
get on our computer and we start emailing,
Yep.
we start texting. We're working umpteen times.
Around the clock, yeah,
I don't
around the
know
clock.
anybody that's successful in real estate that doesn't work around the clock.
Right. Well, it's always on your mind because it's your business, right? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, there's definitely a self-employed factor. Whether you work for a team or not, right? You're can control your own destiny. And if you're serious about what you do, then you want to make that investment, your business, your baby, right? The best it can possibly be. So you spend time, and that's how you create success. But at the same time, it's also for your consumers, right? Because your client, when they want to put in an offer on a house, they don't want to lose that house. And if you're not available to them, you're putting them in jeopardy of potentially not being able to get that home, right? So you do have to be a little selfless
Yep. I've
with your
written
time.
many and offers on the side of the road.
Oh, yeah.
In my PJs at home, on vacation.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
That's right. No, it's the industry that never sleeps, and what a lot of people don't realize is the amount of work that we do on both sides of the table for free, right? Because I don't know about your business, but I can tell you with ours, it's quite often that we speak to consumers, get them all the way to the qualification point, and maybe they decide not to move forward on a home, and we don't get that business, right? So there's fees involved in that too, right? For you, it's going to be gas and expenses of marketing. For us, it's going to be cost of credit and cost of DU and underwriting pools and underwriting systems. And at the end of the day, we do a lot of that stuff with no return, right? It's important, that you understand and respect what your agents are out there doing for you, because there's a lot of stuff that's being done where we don't get compensation, right? Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff. Well, I would love to keep you here all day because I'm having a blast, but we know you got a baby to take care of.
Yep.
You got clients to serve, and you got a lot of hats to wear. So is there anything we didn't tackle today that we should have covered?
I don't think so. I think the only other thing I would love to add, I somewhat preface this, but just an encouragement to people that might be afraid to jump into this, whether they're a mom or a dad or just out of college or whatever. Maybe they didn't go to college.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're passionate about something,
That's right.
it's always worth trying, and maybe have low expectations on the forefront. But just
Measure the activity, not the results.
work hard, and I think that's it. Just an encouragement that you can do it.
Yeah, well, we love it. We love it. And I love your positivity. At the end of the day, it's who you are, and it's why you're having such great success, right? It's just fun to spend time with you. And speaking of spending time, when the folks out there want to find you, we want to make sure they know how to get in touch with you. So what market do you serve? We heard you're all over DFW.
I am. I go all the way to the Oklahoma border. I live in Anna, but really I cover all of
Hannah
it.
from Anna.
Yes, all of the Dallas metro. So if you're in North Texas, I gotcha.
She's your girl. And Hannah with Fathom.
Yes.
How do the folks find you? What's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Well, I have my phone on me at all times, so probably my phone. My phone number is 972-310-0810. I'm also very avid on Instagram.
Let's
That's
go.
very 25-year-old of me. So my Instagram handle is miss.Hannah Hanson.
Miss Hannah Hanson. If you're watching this, you saw that come across the video at the bottom of the screen. screen. And if you're not watching, you're on the podcast, just go check the description. We'll make sure all of Hannah's contact information is there. And if you want great representation in the DFW, you need to reach out to Hannah. She's going to take great care of you. You're going to have a great experience. So, man, wow. Thank you, Hannah.
Thank y'all for having me. This is so
thanks,
fun.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Dave, brother, anything you want to say to our guests before we close this one out?
No, if you're looking for real estate, yeah, well, let's keep her up north in Anna, Sherman, and stuff like that. I would call Hannah, and maybe you get see her cute little baby if she brings her along. So.
Yeah. And if you follow my Instagram.
I say,
Yes.
or check out
All over.
IG, because she's
Yeah.
probably, we gotta get some baby pics up there.
For
right?
sure.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, we're your real estate success partners. I'm Devin David.
I'm David Wynn.
And if you want to check us out, come on over to realestatesuccesspartner.com. Again, that's realestatesuccesspartner.com. But if you want to see the video, and I think you should, come to YouTube and make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you comment. If you want to be a guest, just make a reference there. We'd love to have you on the show. And I think until the next time, yeah, we'll see you then.
Bye, guys.